Oh yeah, this is Craig Metrowich for VideoCelebrityNews.com, and today I have got Bob D, the graffiti artist, the extraordinary talented guy that we're going to be speaking to him for the next 10 to 15 minutes. This is the HD uncut, raw, unedited version. We also got a link on Facebook.com/Metrowich in which you can see the live intro. So let's go straight into it. Bob D. I'm in his studio, by the way, and I've looked around and he certainly knows what he's doing. Let's go to the founding on how did you discover your raw, uncut, unedited, talented? How do you become a graffiti artist?
Well, I think it started where it starts with most people, and that's when we were younger, we all sketched and doodled. I was very blessed that my mother and my family, encouraged me to draw and sketch quite a bit, so that helped. And then, through the years, we vandalized a little bit along the way. But,
look, I don't want to know too much about that, but I know what
the
that
details
means.
will be buried in time. And then I was blessed a few years back to start doing this as a living, and not only the graffiti, push more into all the fields of art. So use the graffiti style in all different mediums of art, man. Yeah.
Because, art itself is such a subjective thing. I mean, like opinion-wise, like what person thinks, the complexity around art. So what I found is there's like the really technical stuff, straight line type stuff, like architecture, building designs.
Like the geometric styles.
Exactly. There's artistic to that. But I mean, I think what makes yours so challenging and difficult is when you're choosing, for example, spray cans, which the anatomical design of one of those things is not exactly conducive to doing world-class art. It's not like a paintbrush. So how do you master that? My question is, how do you master using, let's say, spray can to paint a wall, as an example?
It's also with experience. As you go on, you get nozzle control and feel of the can. And you get to know the can a little bit more, let's say, intimately, if you want to call it that. So, like, obviously, when we all started, it was just like spray and drips and
you guys must have spent a fortune, eh?
Yeah. Well, right in the beginning, it wasn't so seriously about buying the paint. It was more about racking it, which is like putting it in your pocket.
Okay, with you.
Getting out quickly. But yeah, now you also get the different nozzles and the different types of paint.
So is there a market? Is there so my question is, because a lot of my audience are business people, so they would be fascinated about your talent and your skill. So how do you source it? In other words, my question is there a specific range that's now been made, recognizing worldwide that the graffiti? Yes. Okay, so tell us about that.
There's quite a few big brands out there that actually make graffiti specific spray paint, which is, that's a blessing. So a lot of the stresses of the consistency of the paint, the color of the paint, the nozzles, all of that has now been handled by the bigger companies and the corporations. But locally, we don't have anything yet.
So what's so cool about that is what you're saying is that your industry is actually recognized now. It's matured. It's not like, okay, it's on the verges and you guys are hopping over walls and being chased by security. No. It's kind of how it was in the past.
Big corporations have already jumped on the graffiti arts quite a while ago. Yeah, like it's unfortunately being used not only for good, but as a tool for, let's say, some of the evil corps. So it's like gentrification. They use graffiti to push in front of gentrification, which is quite negative, but yeah, it's still a platform to have the arts up. So I think any publicity is good publicity.
So let's talk travels, because when I actually did a little bit of research on you, you've traveled and I saw some of your graffiti stuff now across Africa. So tell us about that. Where did you go recently? What was a highlight?
Well, I've been around East and West Africa quite a bit. Recently did Uganda, and that was quite a awesome experience there. I go there for construction and then tend to do a little bit of art on the side. So I met up with a bunch of guys in Uganda which helped me paint. I painted at the source of the Nile. I painted in Kampala. So it was quite a crazy adventure there. And then in West Africa, I got the Ink Fam crew there. It's some two guys who actually push the arts quite seriously there, and it's cool to get around, cool to meet people of the same vibe in different areas.
And also different cultures. And what about techniques? Did you learn anything from techniques that side? Was there anything that came across?
Sure. Unfortunately, in let's say the the darker areas of Africa where we don't have the European paints and things.
Yeah.
You got to learn to check certain things like you can never find a full can of paint on a shelf.
Okay.
Like all the cans have kind of been used. And
so when you're referring to dark, you're talking, for example, that literally might not have power grid whatsoever. Off the grid, as I would understand.
Most of the time, the paint shops are little, they say, brick squares. There's no electricity. There's no till you go out there, and it's a little hardware store type thing, and they pull out a box.
Do they have internet? Internet, yes or no?
With your cell phone, yeah. You got to climb a little bit up, but it's... No, all jokes aside, it's developed in the capitals, but the moment you leave the capital, there's nothing.
I mean, that in itself has got its own, I would find it's got its own way of revitalizing your mind. So, give an example for the audience watching this. I'm Craig Metrowich. I'm a business coach and inspirational speaker. Started videocelebritynews.com because I got sick and tired of all the bad news. Wanted to share some good news. And my healthy addiction is the ocean. And that for me is like a spiritual recharge. So my question is, how do you recharge your mind to get your creativity flared? I mean, do you surf? Do you go for a walk? Craig, I go tour Africa. How do you get your creativity? I mean, do you go online and research other graffiti artists? How do you keep it going? So the question is, how do you keep your creativity going? Big question, eh? Sorry, I just thought about that now. But this is unscripted, unedited raw. I warned him. I said I don't know the actual questions myself.
I'm scared to give you the answer. I'd abuse that.
No, let's not.
I tend to head into the mountains. Like they say, locally we live in Cape Town. It's paradise. 1,000 places to go into the mountains. But should I need a real good spirit wash? Transkei, Coffee Bay.
Oh, yes. You see, now there I can relate. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, just paradise, hardly a human being. If you break your leg, you're dead. No one's rescuing you.
Fresh air.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I love it there, man.
It clears your soul. All right, I want to get now a little bit on the technical side. What are the techniques of graffiti? Are they like techniques?
Yes,
okay,
for sure.
Because I obviously need to just understand a little bit more. What are the techniques?
Okay, so firstly, I think we should define graffiti and street art. It's quite a different thing. Graffiti is, they say, more the do it for no gain, simple infamy. I go out to put my name up as much as I can, to get my name out there as much as I can. So Bible writing, tags, just little names scratched.
So the video link that I shared, okay, that one where you guys are all together doing a massive. So tell me, what is that? That's street art. You see, so that's where the lay person like me wouldn't know that. So thanks for clarifying. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's street art. That was a commission job. So we were commissioned by the gallery to do that piece there, and so we opted due to us being 4 guys. So we had 4 different styles, and we didn't want to intrude on anyone's style. We opted to do the crew's name in sign language. So that was
brilliant.
The abbreviation of the crew's name, in sign language.
Okay, so what I'm understanding, graffiti is about infamy and putting out your own style out there, and I can see it. It's maverick in my terminology, right? It's like the maverick. And then when you go to the street art stuff, I can see it's a commercial value where somebody says, listen, I've got a brand, I want a certain type of style, and then they would commission you to do that.
Indeed,
so how long have you been doing this? From start to current?
I've been painting for a few years, and I'd say the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Been doing it for a living. Yeah, and it's ups and downs, but I don't think anyone...
It's called entrepreneurship.
There we go.
So let me help him here. So let me coach you quickly on this. So if I lose my methodology, my business is called You Are Powerful Coaching, right?
All right.
It's youarepowerful.com. So let's go quickly. I'll run you through some of this. So the first challenge is how to get a studio. Challenge quotient. The second thing is IQ. Intelligence quotient, which is skills. So you've got that. I mean, I've seen some of your work here. He's got the skills to do that. The next one's EQ, emotional quotient, which is attitude. So to be an artist at your level, graffiti artist, you got to have that flair. It's an inside thing. You got to just have that. Even for me to present, I could never do this and love it for 14 years.
And not have
it's got to be. It's a burning desire.
Indeed.
If I go on holiday, I miss this. I miss interacting with people. So then I know it's my the attitude. It's that burning desire inside you.
Thing,
Next thing is called, if you go SQ, Now, the artists and the tattoo artists and the people that are in the arts, including if you're doing music or dancing, you have an abundance in that and a spiritual quotient. All right. So, and you prove that by saying, I said, like, how do you escape? Hey, I go for a walk into the mountains, and that works for you. It's actually the spiritual closeness. Next point, physical quotient. Okay, that's the difficult thing for all of us in entrepreneurship.
You got to keep grinding, eh?
Got to keep grinding, keep producing work, keep producing content. Get a studio. Exactly, get a studio. It's physical, eh? Set up your artwork, do a exhibition. It's all physical, massive amount of actions. Okay, PQ.
Aligning yourself with what you're trying to do. You can't just sit and have ideas. You actually got to go and do those things.
Yeah, taking all those thoughts and putting it into your hands and then actually being able to spray in your case. So that's the X factor as far as entrepreneurship. Then there's an Achilles heel that I call the ZQ, zero quotient. And that is, normally for most people, it's procrastination, or it could be lack of funding, or it could be a bad relationship that stops you, like a parent saying, hey, listen, you can't do this, dude. You've got to be a doctor.
Oh, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with it. Or you've got to be an architect. And you're saying, but mom and dad, I want to be a graffiti artist. And they go, no, you're mad. You can't do that for a living. Sound familiar?
No, unfortunately not.
Okay, so they were all supportive. All of that equals, and I'm getting to the end of my methodology, is RQ, results quotient. I.e., we're here today, I'm interviewing you. To me, you're a superstar celebrity in your own right, because I could never do what you do. So I huge respect to you.
Oh, thanks.
And a lot of people watching this couldn't do what you do. Let's be blunt. There's maybe 0.01% can do what you do.
Not instantly, but with enough practice, anyone can do anything.
Yeah, for sure.
Brother,
Okay, for sure.
The world's open, man.
So the thing to add to that, so what I've told you is the way to map out to get to result. What I haven't told you is none of it means anything unless it's part of your purpose.
There we go.
Okay. So in other words, if it's not meaningful, life-changing, inspiring, how do you get up at 5 then every morning to hit a canvas? You can't. How do you get up at 3, scale a wall, okay, go and do a graffiti work, freezing cold, okay, with torches in bad lighting? All of it is about finding that meaning in your work.
Yeah, you feel it's a fire.
That's it.
It's a fire inside. Either you got the fire, or you don't have the fire.
That's it. All right, so we're going to wrap up. This is Craig Metrowich. I'm with Bob D, graffiti artist. How do we trace you and track you down? Just this is your commercial bit. You can tell us how do we trace you and track you down?
You can check me out on Instagram or on Facebook. It's Infamous Bob D. So it's INKFAMOUSBOBD. One word.
Got it. So this is Craig Metrowich with Bob D for VideoCelebrityNews.com, the good news channel. We want to inspire you, energize you, and share the love.